All right, this is a video I did on Zoom a few weeks ago. Myself, Aiden, and Chandler, we pretty much discussed the announcement for the Showtime Tyler Perry series for Mabel, which is a drama series focusing on a young, in her 20s Mabel. And this is something that, took the internet by storm to an extent, which I still think that the announcement for the person playing young Madea is going to be the thing that really sets people off, for better or worse. So sit back, enjoy this, fun Zoom interview. I might do stuff like this in the near future. He's kind of laid back, talking with other fans about this kind of stuff. And again, we just talk about the announcement. And as always, make sure you go ahead and follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Like and subscribe to the channel. And make sure you link up with Chandler and Aiden on social media. I'll leave links in the top comment below so you can follow them there. And with that being said, sit back, enjoy, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. And don't mind the moving boxes. This was a few weeks ago. My room was still a mess. All right, folks. So earlier this week, we got the news of a new series in development on Showtime. Tyler Perry and Tim Palin have worked together to create a new series called Mabel, which is going to be, again, on Showtime, not BET, not BET Plus, not OWN. It's going to be on Mabel. This is going to be focusing on a young Madea in her 20s when she first got to Atlanta back in 1972. So I have Chandler and Aiden on board, and we're basically going to discuss, kind of our initial reaction to the news, our thoughts on what this drama series can be, possible, characters from the Madea timeline who might be introduced as younger versions of themselves, and we'll get the discussion going. But before we get into it, as always, make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on social media, and if there are any other big discussion topics you want me to do in a group setting like this on Zoom, make sure you fill me in. So guys, I'll leave the floor open to you. Just tell me what did you think about, what came to mind, or how did you react when you first heard the news back on April the 7th?
Well, when I first heard it, I was like, okay, Tyler Perry's coming out with a new drama series. So I kind of was like, to be honest, I mean, even though I knew it was about Madea, I was kind of skeptical at first. I was like, oh man, another drama series. And not that I don't like his drama series, but Tyler Perry's always writing. So I said, oh man, okay, another drama series by Tyler Perry. What's this gonna do? And then I went on reading it, and I was like, Madea. I was like, oh, this might be pretty good. I'll give it a try. It's just gonna be good. And then I saw the part where I don't know if I get the name, Dashika and Danica or something like that. James.
We can just say
the James
James
twins. Right, the James sisters. And when I saw that there's going to be other writers, I was like, you know what? This really gives me hope that Tyler Perry has got a series he's created. Sure, he's going to have some say-so, and he'll probably write some stuff here and there, and he'll produce some stuff. But the fact that it had other writers and producers, that really gave me hope. I was like, yeah, I think that this is going to be something good. So from that, what I'm hoping to see is, Madea in the 70s. I'm sure that there might be some civil rights stuff. Maybe, who knows? We'll see what goes on. But I would also like to see when Madea comes, Joe. I don't know if she had met Bam and Hattie yet. Probably, maybe. But I would like to see Joe, Cora, Mr. Brown. Those are the three main other main characters that I would like to see younger versions of in this Madea timeline. Joe, Cora, Mr. Brown. And I would like to see Brian and his mama, and maybe Medea's, her and her ex-husband. So yeah, I think it'll be good. I have high hopes for it, especially now that Tyler Perry's got a team. So yeah, I think it will make for a good series.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that kind of threw me off first looking at this article, and I go kind of thing by thing. The first thing I saw was that okay, he's bringing Madea back. What is it? It's a TV show. Okay, great. He said that he wanted to bring her back in some capacity. And then I saw Showtime. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Why Showtime and not BET? If correct me if I'm wrong, I think that maybe Showtime is like a HBO type of network. So like,
yeah, they're similar.
I think they can say whatever they want. They can kind of use all those curse words that BET bleep out and kind of go there with a lot of the things. So I think that might be why it's on Showtime, because I think if you're gonna do Madea in her early ages, you can't have her censored. I think she would be pretty, considering how she is now as an old lady, I think she would be pretty rough with the language. So I think that's probably why they went with Showtime. So then I was like, okay, that's probably a good move. And then I saw that that it was gonna be a new producer, Tim. I said, okay, well then maybe that also means something good, that there's some more people involved. And I saw the writers. I was like, okay, that's great. And at first I was nervous, but this is Madea. Only really Tyler Perry knows Madea so well. But then I started thinking about it. Madea has a book, and I don't know if you guys read the book, but the book kind of goes through her childhood as well. And she had a lot of brothers and sisters. The book talks about her mom and her dad. They called her Big something, either Big Bertha or something they called her mom. And her mom was, it was a lot that happened. She described a lot from her childhood and her earlier years inside the book. So I was like, okay, maybe the writers will read the books and look at the earlier plays, and I'm sure that the continuity will be better now that there are other people involved. And I'm sure Tyler Perry will probably direct it. I'm sure it'll still be, at Tyler Perry Studios. I'm sure he'll direct it. So that made me feel better about it. And it's really refreshing to see a new process being implemented into the creation of some of Madea's stories, because for so long now it's been Tyler Perry's ideas and Tyler Perry's things, and it's always been the same type of process. Tyler Perry comes up with an idea, he puts the dress on, he does it, he films it, and it's the same type of process. But now it's different. Now you have Tyler Perry has an idea, he gives it to somebody else, they go back and watch old plays, and now they're writing something for it, and now he has a new actress coming in to put a new spin on Madea and add layers to Madea and a whole new setting with these characters. And I mean, I'm really just excited to see, number one, to see some of these stories that Madea talks about come to life, and to see some of these characters. Like I want to see Brown. I want to see how they made this joke about how Madea and Brown hooked up for 3.5 seconds, and it was at their prom, and then that's how Cora was conceived, and how Joe used to be a pimp back in the day. I want to see Joe as a pimp. I want to see Joe with Brian's mom. I want to see how Hattie and Bam met. I want to see young versions of all of these characters. And the last thing that threw me off about it was that it's going to be a drama, which you would expect it to be a comedy because it's Madea and all of her cast of characters. But when you think about it, Tyler Perry's work has never really fit into one genre or one category. Tyler Perry's work has always been, well, it's a drama, but Madea made it really funny, or it's a comedy, but there are a lot of dramatic moments, or the hell have nots. It's a soap opera, but some of the characters will really make you chuckle, or it's supposed to be a drama, but it's more soap opera-ish. So I think Tyler Perry has never really been able to make any of his work fit into like one type of genre. So I think it'll be the same thing with this show. I think it'll have some dramatic moments, but I think it'll really be rooted in comedy and rooted in what Madea is known for. And I pray that whoever this actress is that they choose, I really hope it's an actress and not a guy.
Me too, at this point.
Whoever they choose to, because that'll be really bad. I saw the Shade Room posted about this, and the comments were all like, "Oh, Tyler Perry just loves to wear a dress. Tyler Perry just cannot get away from the wig." Oh, so I hope he doesn't put another guy in the wig. I hope he lets the actress play her and really give her a real, even more of a real type of personality and dynamic. And I think it's gonna be really good if as long as they can give us what we want as far as those other characters and really explaining some of these stories that they've talked about. And like you said earlier, Jeremy, in the other video, show and not tell. I think as long as they can make that happen in this show, I think it'll be really successful. I'll be happy with it. I think a lot of people will be happy with it. And I'm looking forward to
Oh
it,
yeah.
honestly.
Agreed. And
See, another
I
thing
know
too
back
is
in oh, I'm sorry, I just had to get this out real quick. Back in 2019, I posted that interview he did during the Madea family funeral press tour that he said he would get an actress to portray young
Yeah.
Madea. So, you know, that was one of my biggest things when I first saw the article. You know, before I went back and remembered, I'm pretty sure I did a video about him talking about a Madea series. So I would hope he stayed true to what he was saying. Again, that was like a couple years ago, so he could have changed his mind. But I wholeheartedly agree. You know, putting another man in a dress and a wig. You know, not to mention, if you ask me, the Tyler Perry we've been seeing in recent days with you know, how people have been losing their mind over the thirst trap photos and whatnot, and you know, with his son being older and whatnot, he probably wants to kind of step away from that particular character himself, but wouldn't be against letting someone else kind of take the reins. But
But here's the thing though. How do you, you know, I think that might be a little offensive to somebody, you know, like you know, because Madea is not the prettiest of people. So how do you put female? How do you find a female actress that looks like Madea and put her in this, you know, situation? Maybe Madea was really beautiful when she was younger,
that's
and maybe
something you're absolutely right. I was about to kind of, you know, swoop in and say the Madea we only know is the in her mid to late 60s and beyond that. Not to mention when we seen, like, you know, I think I used this thumbnail for the video I posted yesterday from Madea Goes to Jail, like, you know, Madea throughout the years, you know, Black Panther Madea, or, you know, blonde wig Madea. That's supposed to be a joke because, you know, this is young Madea who looks suspiciously like Tyler Perry. So I mean, to be honest, I don't
yeah.
really know how Madea looked per se. I just know the running gag has been like Madea has always been big, larger than life.
right.
So she could
I
have,
mean that doesn't mean that she couldn't look pretty though.
yeah,
And
I'll literally just saying, you
That
know,
doesn't mean that.
I
Yeah.
mean, you never know.
It's just saying, how do you sell to an actress? I want you to play a younger version of a character that's been played by a 6'5" man.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's
agree.
kind of
I will say this, like, if there was to be like Tyler were to say to, okay, I'm Tyler Perry myself, you know, sound like Derek Jackson speaking in the third person, you know, Tyler Perry himself is done with Madea, but instead of having another guy play Madea, I want in real time a woman to play Madea. I think Leslie Jones is like the first person to come to mind as a female who could play Madea that isn't a man in the dress and wig. But in
I do
terms of,
like Leslie Jones. I do. I think she's a good act, and I think she would be a good. Uh, I don't know that yeah, I have to agree. Not only would that be disrespectful, but I think it's kind of be stupid too if you put a young guy in a wig that. Yeah, I just don't think that would be. And another thing I want to see too is I want to see some of these stories expanded upon. You know, like um
there's
I can't.
this great story from Madea class reunion where Madea says she took Cora into the store and
oh, I know what
she
I
was
know.
trying to act like that she slipped and fell, and then they were looking for her, and she was in the cookie aisle eating up
Yep.
all the cookies. And as horrible as this sounds, as ridiculous as it sounds, I want to see Madea as a stripper, not actually
I get
see
it.
it,
That's
but
a
I just kind of want to see her in that atmosphere and kind of see, you know, what she was like and see, you know, the environment. And I'm really excited for Tyler Perry to do a period piece. I'm excited for that with the Jazzman's Blues and with this kind of because, you know, with a lot of his projects, it's the same present day in Atlanta, you know, time. I'm excited to see him go into a different time with this and the Jazzman's Blues. Now we're going back to the 70s and see kind of what does Tyler Perry's world look like in the 70s. And kind of,
See, and
I just think it's very. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I also want to see these story like these like that story that you're talking about slipping and falling, and there was I also want to see like the stories that Madea tells about like Cora getting beat up at school, and then she's having these bullies, and then Madea fixed her favorite meal like ham hocks and stuff like that,
Yeah,
pork ribs, and then she said she's sitting there watching The Young and the Restless, and she got a call from the school saying that Cora beat somebody up because he's trying to take her lunch. See, I want to see all those stories I want these. Hope the James sisters will go back through these movie archives and pull out these stories and put those into this, because I would like to see those in action, because that would be funny.
You know the story they have to do? They have to do the Rosa Parks thing. If
Yes.
they did the
Oh
Rosa
my
Parks thing,
goodness. Yes.
that would sell me on Tyler Perry in general. That would just be so hilarious if they actually went back and did that whole thing. And
They
I
could
think,
have like Marla Gibbs or somebody like Florence from the
right.
Jeffersons playing Rosa Parks.
And Jeremy, I love your idea of doing this Everybody Hates Chris style. I think that is so great, because so that way we still have the essence of the Madea we know and love, as well as seeing the new version. And I think, because we like Tyler Perry as Madea, and we want to see more of that. So I think that'll kind of be the best way to do it. I love that idea, and I think if they can pull it off, I think if they pull it off, it'll be really good. And if they don't pull it off, it'll be really bad. I really don't think there's a medium in between them. I think either it's going to be really good or really bad, and I hope it's really good.
I have to agree on that. I think it's going to either it's going to suck so bad we can't stand it, or it's going to be the best thing that we've seen from Tyler Perry since season 1 of the Haves and Have-Nots.
Right. I do feel like this show has an uphill battle, because going back to what I mentioned before, like when I mentioned Leslie Jones, I meant like, playing Madea as we know Madea now. I honestly, I don't think she could pull off, Madea in her 20s. So in my mind, I can't really picture a 20-something-year-old Madea. Like, I don't really know who could pull that role off particularly well. Like, I have faith that they would. I feel like Tyler Perry understands the responsibility and the pressure for this particular role, so he would want to pick the best person for the job. And yeah, I mean, I love my idea of the Madea as the narrator of the series, pretty much like Everybody Hates Chris, because
that's a great idea.
Thank you. It goes back to how Tyler doesn't want to be in the wig and dress anymore, but this is an opportunity for him to just simply do voiceover work. I mean, I could see it one of two ways. Tyler can put on the Madea outfit for promotional things for this show, maybe do like an opening scene for the show, like
just like he did for the BT Plus commercial, and like he did for Medea's Tough Love, the animated one at the very beginning. He got into the costume.
Bro,
I think he should do that.
I was about to say, it would be interesting if like this show is set up where Medea's talking with some of her friends, like Hattie, Bam, or whatever. It's like, did I tell you about the time? Remember in the 70s when or she's telling, we're seeing her tell a story. I would love that. It's just Tyler.
Maybe she's doing some kind of an interview. It's like, Mrs. Mabel Simmons, what have you contributed to Atlanta over the last 50 years?
Even better. She's under arrest, and she has to like, okay, what about this? Something that links back to you back in like 1975, or it's like tell your story, or you know what? This series could have been like the perfect like farewell letter. Like if he really did kill Madea off, or Madea was ill or something, this could be her doing her own like autobiography or whatever. It's like, let me tell you about this before I pass on. That would be amazing. I would love that.
Everybody Hates Chris. I think that is a wonderful idea you got there.
Yeah, I really think
it's such a good idea that if they don't do it, it's like a real missed opportunity. Because that's how good of an idea it is. Because
I really feel like, as funny as the show was, Chris Rock's comedic timing whenever something was going. I think my favorite moment was the episode. It was towards the end when Tasha and Chris finally got together. But Julius actually had a wife that he never officially divorced from. So whenever Trishina Arnold, like, she was just hilarious in this episode. And then Chris Rock was in the background. I was like, but is she white? Is she white? That takes me out every time I hear that.
That was like near the end of the series, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like I said, it was towards the end. It was like one of the final episodes.
There weren't many seasons, so they were all pretty good. So they kind of mixed together.
I remember it vaguely, very well, because I remember how I hated how Tasha Page Heard was written out of the show. The final scene she had, the final line dialogue was, "See ya, wouldn't want to be ya," and I felt like that was such a waste. Yeah, but
back to what you said about Madea, Jeremy, you were talking about the pressure. He knows I can agree with that. It's like I say, the writing, I think that might be why he's hired other writers too, is because he knows that this is not something. House of Pain is House of Pain. It was gone. It came back. with the Paynes. Then they brought the Browns back with assisted living. Yeah. But Tyler Perry knows that this Madea character is an iconic character that pretty much made him who he is today. And he knows how important this character is, and he knows how well loved she is. And he knows that if he screws this up, a lot of fans are going to be very, 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 very upset. So I think he knows that he needs to bring his A game on this one.
I mean, to be honest, like I said before, and like you just said, it's an uphill battle to climb. Who really thinks of anybody else playing Madea other than Madea? I feel like as soon as we get the casting announcement and when we get this first trailer, it's going to be a whole lot of hell, but also a whole lot of views for me. But I just feel like it really, that's probably why it's a drama series, because I mean, I really can't see how this show would succeed if it's meant to be exactly like the plays and the movies. And with it being a drama and on Showtime, like Aiden said before, there's a lot they can quote unquote show, or I was about to say get away with, but they can show compared to an own network or BET. Unless this was a BET Plus series, I wouldn't be able to say that it could be as true to the Madea character in terms of her raunchiness as it could be.
And let me tell you what gives me more hope is that, number one, Tyler Perry had this inkling of an idea in 2019, which means they've approximately been working on it for 2 years. And the article said that the studio has the scripts are ready, and they've ordered more scripts, which means something is good, and that they like it. And also, Tyler Perry has always been good at finding comedic actors. Like Tyler Perry, he's always been good at finding talent. So I think as far as when it comes to finding somebody to play Madea, that he's going to find the right person, and that he's not going to settle for anybody, and that he's going to put the right person into all these roles. Somebody to play the young Brown, if there is one to play any of these young characters. I think that I think he'll do a good job because he's always been good at casting.
And I'm sure that he has a casting director too, or somebody that helps him maybe.
Yeah, there have been times where actors say that I thought I would be auditioning for Tyler Perry, but it's actually a group of people they audition for. So yeah, I do feel like he has those people who pick the talent. That's not to say Tyler doesn't pick talent, but I mean, like Raquel Bailey after the Billboard star, Tyler didn't know that she got hired. So there are plenty of times where I feel like at the beginning he was probably there for everything, but as he got bigger and bigger, he's had more teams. But
but he's found he found Hattie, he found Cassie, he found the Mans. So I think all of these big characters that we know for their comedic work, he really has an eye. He really has an eye for those, out those talents that stick out, those talents like Chandra Corelli, all those people that are just really good. He has a real eye for those people. And I think that
you know what? Those people, I don't know, maybe the Mans, or shoot, Cassie, or Hattie, I wouldn't even be against them. Maybe what if one of them made a special appearances, like Tamala Mann could be like Medea's mom or her aunt or something like that, or David Mann could be her dad, or just something like that. I wouldn't even be against them making guest appearances.
That's not uncommon. It's like an actor, let's say an actor who played a specific role, like for example, the original voice actors for Arnold and Gerald, they weren't the voices of Arnold and Gerald in the Hey Arnold Jungle movie, but they were voice actors for other characters. So I absolutely agree. We can have David Mann portraying another notable character, or Tamala Mann, or hell, even Hattie and Bam. Well, excuse me, Cassie Davis and Patricia
Lovely.
There you go. They could play. And I mean, to be honest, I would love to see some of the more notable actors, maybe some cast from Have Not, If Loving You Was Wrong, kind of play other roles in other not to just jump off other from Mabel to other shows, but there are a lot of other actors from shows that are either about to end or have already ended that I would love to see in a different genre of Tyler Perry media. For example,
this might be a stretch. Even Tyler Perry might make a one-off appearance or something as somebody.
I mean, he plays 4 or 5 different characters from the Madea franchise, so you never know.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's see how.
I'm sorry. What if Tyler Perry played Medea's daddy?
That would be hilarious.
That would
I
be
mean, let's
I
see,
like that.
let's see how Heathrow got his legs cut off, and let's see, like, there's so much potential. It's really hard to mess up, and I think they'll get it.
Yeah, here's my thing, and like you mentioned this earlier, and when it comes to the James twins or James sisters doing this, I don't know, I know they apparently like wrote for other projects like Empire and whatnot, but I'm like, are they Tyler Perry fans? Have they watched the Madea franchise? How well did they know the series? And I know there are fans who know every play, every movie timeline, and obviously not a lot of things are in the same flow of time because of missing characters who are family members or the inconsistency of how many daughters or granddaughters this particular character has. So I will say that
this character is a niece, but in the next episode she's the mother of one place she's your sister, in the next episode she's your aunt.
Yeah, so I feel like going into this show as a casual Madea fan who's aware of a lot of products, but I haven't dissected them as I do with the shows I review now. I will say that there's a huge pool. There's like an ocean of Madea continuity to pull from. And I feel like I will say this, I will feel like this show could be, I feel like, as a like critic commentator or whatever, I feel like I'll give this show more of a grace because this is a Madea origin story, but we don't know which Madea it's linked to. It's kind of like Superman. Like there's the golden era, the new 52 rebirth. It's like, okay, it's one character, but there are various versions of it. With Madea, same thing. The movie Madea, the TV show Madea, the play Madea. There are so many continuities. So I wonder what they'll do with this.
And I think that's probably why Tyler Perry brought these writers in to kind of tie and weave those inconsistencies together. Because he probably knew, okay, I made some mistakes here and there. In order for this to work, I probably need to get some people to tie these loose ends together. And I think that's kind of what they're going to do with this show is kind of take, I have no doubt, because they're professional writers, any type of professional writer typically goes and studies whatever they're writing about. So I'm sure they'll go and watch all of them over again, even though they probably are casual Madea fans. It's hard to grow up Black and miss some Tyler Perry Madea plays or something. So I'm sure they'll just go back and rewatch them and take those notes and, get it, and then just tie those loose ends together and add new flavors to it, because obviously she's younger. She's going to be even crazier than she was now that she's older.
Yeah.
And just kind of, I think that's kind of why he brought them on, to fix those issues. So I have a lot of faith in the show that those issues will kind of be resolved.
I agree.
I do too. And I think he realizes at this point with Madea, like I said earlier, he realizes that this is nothing to mess with. This is not something to be making mistakes with.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Something needs to be done right.
And going back to what Aiden said before about how, in the article it talked about how they ordered more scripts. I remember being blown away when I read the article about All the Queen's Men, how originally it was supposed to be like 7 or 8 like 30-minute episodes, but then they increased it to like almost double that in hour-long episodes. So I'm like, okay, not to mention there are a lot of people behind this show. It isn't just Tyler Perry, it's Christian Key's book that the show's based around, but you have Kim Fields in the mix, as well as other notable producers and writers. And also, even though, like I said, that show, I'm not a big fan of, stripper shows and stuff like that, like P-Valley, but I'm somewhat tempted to watch because the fact that they ordered so many more episodes after the initial one, something must be going right. And because what's it called? I forgot. It's like Pitch Black. It's like a branch division of Tyler Perry Studios where it has other writers and whatnot. So I'm very intrigued to see what these other projects are going to be like with Tyler Perry.
I'm interested to see who the cast of All the Queen's Men are going to be too, because I'm sure if they've got notable producers, we're going to have some notable cast members. I'm sure
they've announced it. Like there was an article like 14 different casts. I don't remember them all.
A teaser trailer came out.
They had like a teaser promo that was like 10 seconds. It only has like 4 various scenes. What's her face? Eva Mendes, who plays
Is it Eva? No, it's Eva Marcel.
Marcel, yeah, she
played Tracy on House of Pain. Yep.
Yeah, she's like the main character. So I'm like, damn.
I think it's finally gotten to Tyler that I honestly believe that Tyler Perry didn't know we were having these problems with the shows. I feel like now it's just now starting to get to him that, people are picking up on the fact that I draw these things out. people are picking up on the fact that I'm using copy and paste to write these scripts. So I think maybe I need to start doing some different things. And
I think
because
he's starting to do it too.
yeah, because he's always said he looks for truth and criticism. He said that from the beginning, and I think that he's finally seen some truth in our criticism, and and even though we're making these shows on BET #1, I think now he's starting to see, okay, maybe for these next shows I can get some other people to come on and make them better.
I have a couple things to add to that. Number one, I feel like the most damning thing for him was when he put out that video at the beginning of last year about work ethic, where he had all those scripts.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. And number two, something else we should consider. When you look at have and have nots, too close to home, love thy neighbor, if loving you is wrong, the pains, that was under the Discovery own umbrella, TLC own. Not everybody had those channels. Plus, Too Close to Home, if I'm not mistaken, was like the first scripted show on TLC. So not a lot of people tuned in. It was something different than the norm. I think what really opened Tyler Perry's eyes was when he moved to Viacom, meaning that he was on networks that a lot more people had access to. So when he put out products on the Oval, or like the Oval, Sisters, and whatnot, a lot more people were vocal. I feel like the masses spoke, and he was able to hear them more than he was on the OWN network. Because, like I said, not everybody had OWN. I cannot tell you how many people said, well, you know what, my cable provider dropped OWN for my package, so I'm 2 seasons behind. So I think that now, especially after A Fall from Grace, when that movie got dragged like the bag wigs that were in the film, I think he finally heard everybody saying, okay, maybe I do need to add more people to my roster. Maybe I do need to do better with the editing and whatnot, instead of just filming everything like that, because he's now in more of a public eye. Because when I believe you, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I believe you when younger Tyler Perry said he listens to like criticism and whatnot. I feel like that was when he was first in the game. But now that, after years of establishing himself and now he's a billionaire, it's like, why should I listen? It's like, I'm the billionaire. But yeah, with more and more people being vocal about it, I agree that that's probably why he decided to add more people to the team.
See, I want to think like, going back, like in 2000 on the special features of the I Can Do Battle by Myself DVD, which was recorded like in 2002. It was the first one he recorded for DVD, actually. He said in that, of course, that was back in 2002, that I'm always open to constructive criticism. And see, that was back then. But like you're right with that millionaire status and billionaire status and stuff, Jeremy. And then, like I said, I want to think that he's coming around and noticing that he needs to do more and more writers and stuff. But like you said earlier, when he made that, because people were talking about how he needed a writer's room, and he pretty much made that video pretty much clapping back at him, saying, no, I don't, and work ethic and all that. So you really don't know.
And here's the thing, I think another thing that might play a part in it is that I think now that he's kind of set himself up in a good position with Viacom to now kind of experiment and do some different things. I think he's kind of giving the networks kind of what he promised as far as like viewership and numbers and money. Then now he's like, okay, I can start to experiment and give these things to other people and try some different things with like Ruthless on BT Plus. I think now that he has the Oval and Sisters on BET, and they're bringing in a lot of numbers, doing really well for the network. He has Young Dylan on Nickelodeon, bringing in a lot of great numbers for the network. BET Plus is off to a great start for the type of streaming service that it is. Of course, it's not up there with HBO Max, but like BET Plus is doing really well for the demographic that it's targeted to reach.
Yeah.
So now that he set up all these things to do great, I think now he's even more comfortable with saying, okay, I can give this up. I feel good about not having to do this myself, and I can give it to other people. So I think it's a lot of things that's playing a part into this actually quite sudden transition into letting things go, which I think is a good thing. So I think it's less important as to how it happened and that it is happening. And, we're just grateful that it is happening.
I can agree with that.
Agreed. I just feel like it shows growth in the fact that it's almost like a new era of Tyler Perry content, to be honest. But I'm very curious to see, after seeing the final episode of House of Pain last season being what was it, written by somebody else or directed by someone else? I wonder what the Huh?
Mark Eastwood.
Yeah, there we go. It's like I'm curious to see what direction they're going to take for next season. Just like assisted living to an extent.
Honestly, I don't care if there is a next season. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Yeah, but since we know that they filmed it, I'm very curious to see, because I know House of Pain, for as bad as season 9 was, it brought a lot of traffic to the channel, so I can't argue with that. Assisted living, not so much, but like I said before, we were talking about in the other videos and in between recording, there's just so much content now. I had a couple friends like, bro, I mean, I would love to get you talking like about the MCU stuff and whatnot, and I would love to talk about that more as well. So, with the haves and the have-nots fading out in a couple months here, I don't know if I'm doing like a total rebrand, but it's definitely going to be a shorter channel name than the haves and the have-nots, but also it's going to be just a kind of generic title, because that's what people have been saying for years. Just change it to something generic that's going to encapsulate what you do. Like, some of the biggest channels, it's not going to be my name. I know that much, because that's too nah. But I mean, it's just going to be a name that's simple to the point. And I feel confident enough that
It used to be JCC Theories to See, and I thought that was a pretty good name, actually.
yeah, it just didn't do much with numbers, that's for sure. I just feel like
well, no, when you change, that's what changes when you changed it to, well, when you changed it to Tyler Perry's The Haves and the Have-Nots Review, it helped you, but not in the way you thought. People kept thinking you were Tyler Perry, and it just was like, yeah. And then you said,
to this day, people think that your Instagram is Tyler Perry's actual, like the actual show's Instagram. People are like, ask you, like I see comments all the time, and I'm like, you guys know this is Jeremy, right, and not Tyler Perry himself.
Facebook
which
groups
is
are
really
the
funny.
same way. Facebook groups are the same way. Not to mention, there have been plenty of times where, especially on Instagram, because I got my email, where you can contact me through email. I've gotten so many like headshots and everything, like, oh, my kid acts so Kenny. Is like, I tell them like, nah. And plus, I let them know, because it's like, if I ever get into a situation where the FBI got to look at wait, why do you got these children photos? Look, sir, they thought I was someone else. I'm not an acting director, so
that would not be good.
No, exactly. And I feel like overall, it's going to be, I want to have that finalized by the time the haves and the have-nots wraps up, like either that final night or like the next day when I do like my review or whatever. I'll like do the official rebranding, because with almost 200,000 subscribers, my custom URL is still going to be the haves and the have-nots. So anytime you type it in YouTube, my channel will pop up, so that's still going to stay. I feel confident enough to whatever I change it to, I'll still get followings. Plus, I know a lot more about, hashtags and whatnot. So it's really cool.
If it were me, I would do my review, like one last have and have not video, and then I'd probably rebrand after that.
Yeah, because I'm not going to like change the title until like either 24 or 36 hours after that final episode airs. I just don't know how I'm going to, like I said, it depends on the whole housing thing. Where I am the night of the finale is going to influence a lot if I'll be able to do a live stream, if I'll be able to, crank out the video. Not to mention, like we were talking about before, based on how the final episode is, I'm pretty sure regardless of how that final episode concludes, I'll have at least a dozen pieces of content to do follow-up on. Unresolved storylines, how the ending, wrapped up, that kind of thing. So it's going to be pretty wild.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, to get us back on task, so we can I just want to say about Mabel.
Yeah.
Super excited for it. I had total faith in everybody involved, and I think that it's going to be really great, and I'm excited to get new looks at it. I'm just excited for the show to get here. But initially I'm excited to see trailers and cast and kind of see where this goes, and I'm really excited to get you guys' take on it once it comes out. And I think it's something to look forward to. I don't think it's anything to look down upon just yet. I think it's something to look forward to and give it the benefit of the doubt, and assume that Tyler and the James twins and Tim Palin, I think it is, are going to do a great job with it. Tim Palin, yeah.
Also, something I forgot to mention earlier is like, I wonder, you know, based off how well the show does, do you think it could continue on to the point where maybe each season is a different era? Like maybe one season or two seasons are the 70s, the next is the 80s, and you know, so
Yeah.
and almost like the show will progress to modern day Medeas, or you know,
You know what? I would love that. I was actually hoping that that would be how it is. You know,
yeah.
because I mean, the whole like 1972 to 79, and then the 80s, 90s. Yeah.
It's almost like the Jacksons, the American Dream, where you got like Baby Michael all the way up to the victory yeah, the victory tour, yeah, with his brothers. So it'd be pretty cool to go with Madea throughout the ages. But yeah, like I said, for now, I'm very interested to see the casting. I feel like everybody is wondering who's going to play Madea. That's probably the biggest question, or you know, the
And
big
if they're
point of
and
conversation.
if they are going to do Mr. Brown and Hattie and all those people, who are going to play those people as well?
True.
Who are going to play the people that we know from our current Madea? That's what I'm most excited to see first.
Exactly.
Yeah, me
So
too.
Exactly. All right. Any final thoughts?
no, super excited about it.
Yeah,
Feels
me
good.
too. Just I'm super excited about it, and I'm optimistic. I think it's going to be something good.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. This was our discussion on Mabel. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about this particular new drama series? Are you disappointed that Tyler himself isn't portraying Madea? Who do you think is the best actress for the job? Who would you like to play younger versions of the characters we know, like Brown, Bam, Hattie, Joe? And with that being said, we will catch you all in the next video.